Hey there, baseball fans. Nathan Rohde and Shooter Hunt here with the latest episode of Coffee and Curveballs. Shooter, we're running through the recruiting classes for 2020. We're almost done. We're on the last Power 5 conference today, and that is the Big 12.
And we might have saved the best for last here. This is the deepest that I've seen the Big 12 since we started doing this.
Yeah, it's really deep. Tons of talent. Obviously, with that comes a lot of draft risk. So let's get into it, talking about the players. We'll start off with the Baylor Bears, who have 6 guys in the top 500. Their top recruit being J.D. Gregson, a catcher out of Wakeland, Texas. Right-handed power, strong arm. This is the kind of guy you like having behind the plate. He's going to be able to control a running game and also step into the middle of a lineup and hit for that right-handed power. So Gregson, nice-looking recruit, a guy that you think you can probably get to campus, along with, just not far behind him, Jacob Shainvogel, an outfielder from Cypress Fairbanks in Texas. Quick twitch athlete, runs well, has got feel for the barrel. Those top 2 guys right there definitely could have an impact right away for Baylor.
Absolutely. One of the guys I think is a key for this class is Trey Richardson, shortstop from Kingwood High School. So he's going to have some eyes on him with teammate Mason Wynn having big draft considerations. But he can really pick it out there. And they lost the shortstop to the draft last year in the 19 class. Getting Trey Richardson on the campus would be huge. Love the way he plays the game. Zach Childers, big power on right-hander. He's part of that 12 program there in the Houston area. I think he's going to run it up there while on campus. And Luke Thompson, left-handed pitcher, 3-pitch mix, pounds the strike zone, potential to be a starter at some point with the Baylor Bears.
Certainly. And then obviously you got Cameron Cayley as well, left-hander coming out of a winning program in the Woodlands High School in Texas. So taking those winning ways over to Baylor. But next up, we've got Kansas. And Shooter, we talked about the Big 12, a lot of the usual suspects, TCU, Texas, all those guys with typical recruiting classes and strong. I love this Kansas class because it's got a lot of talent, and I like the chances of them getting most of these guys, if not all, on campus. Top guy is a pick to click for me in Tavion Josenberger, Missouri kid, wiry athlete, switch hitter for feel from both sides. He's an above-average runner. I like the actions at shortstop. If you think he can stick there, he pairs nicely with a guy from Hawaii in Walter Ahuna. From Hilo on the Big Island, he's got a quick bat, room for strength. It's a compact line drive swing. Profiles as, kind of a second baseman who can play defense there, but also, hit for some offense. So you pair those two together, Kansas could be looking pretty good up the middle for a few years.
Yeah, real strong up the middle, and they're going to need to be strong up the middle with some big arms as well. They did a great job with the Royal Scout team, talented group, Stone Hewlett and Sam Brady, 2 left-handed starters who I think will end up being Friday, Saturday type guys for the Jayhawks, can really spin it, loose, quick arms. I think they're going to get better each year while on campus. And Trevor Cardell, who's a catcher-pitcher, big physical kid, has done well behind the plate, has some power to the bat, but I think the upside on the mound is something to really watch for the Jayhawks. Absolutely an excellent class for Kansas.
For sure. So things looking up for the Jayhawks. But sticking in state with their rivals, we've got Kansas State, who have 2 guys in the top 500, both of which have power arms. Trey Fromm shows that power arm right now, some two-way ability as well, but it's going to be hard to take that mid-90s velocity away from the mound. But then you got Tyler Rule, another right-hander, power arm, not quite the same velo right now, but definitely projectable, so you could see it coming down the line for him.
Yeah, 2 Nebraska kids that were able to bring on campus. Love them in the back end of that bullpen. But a guy I was really excited about K-State. They've done a good job in California. They went to SoCal to get a left-handed pitcher out of Cyprus. Really good program. Brett Wozniak. He's pitched in huge games against big competition. 3-pitch mix, but that fastball, curveball, he's able to keep hitters off balance. Love the way he attacks the zone. He really competes. Having a guy like that with that experience against those elite talent players in Southern California to come to campus, he could challenge for a starting role real quickly.
Yeah, he certainly could. So pointing the compass south now, we head to the Sooners of Oklahoma. Lots of talent in this class, but man, there is a ton of draft risk. You got 7 guys in the top 500, including the number 4 high school prospect in the country in Ed Hauer. Sorry, Sooners, you ain't getting him. This guy is a slam dunk first-round pick, athlete at shortstop, shows some life in the bat. this guy's going to be playing pro ball in just a few months, really. So not getting a guy like
back class with Bobby Witt Jr. as a shortstop and then Ed Howard as a shortstop. It's going to be tough to lose those guys. I think Dax Bolton, who was a late commit to Oklahoma, Tommy John surgery, which could affect his draft status. Hopefully for the Sooners, he gets to campus, but I think they'll sweat that one out as well. And then a couple other in-state guys. This 20 class in Oklahoma high school is really talented. Cade Horton, who's a dual sport guy, talking Kyler Murray action there as a quarterback. He can also be a dual position guy on the baseball field. Right. Position player, can really pitch it.
Yeah, he certainly can. I really love the upside on the mound. You talk about it being a dual sport, dual position guy. You know, what I see on the mound now, once he focuses on that down the line, I think he could really take off as a big-time right-hander. But, yeah, premium athlete in the field and on the mound and on the gridiron, too. But then also Jace Barofin, outfielder, really good bat that the Sooners are looking at. They're going to sweat that one out, too. I mean, that's 4 guys in the top 100 right there. So next 6 months, we'll see what happens.
He's a professional hitter. Love the way he sets up from the left side, really tracks well. Even further from there, Hudson Polk is an absolute grinder and a winner. Tough kid from Coppell High School down in Texas. So you know you're getting a good player out of that winning program. Carson Atwood, in-state guy, smaller school, but has won state titles. Quick arm. I think there's a lot of upside on the mound, but he also swings a little bit. And then Tommy Lamb, left-handed pitcher from Wisconsin. Real pitchability there. I think his velo is going to continue to climb over time, but multiple pitches for strikes, and he's not scared.
Yeah, he certainly isn't. So sticking in state in Oklahoma, looking at the rivals of the Sooners, we've got the Cowboys at Oklahoma State. 8 guys in the top 500, starting with Trevor Martin and Dominic Johnson. Trevor Martin, a right-hander, absolutely electric arm, struggles with strikes from time to time, but the stuff is big time. If he's a guy that you can get onto campus, kind of let him take his lumps and kind of figure things out, lots of upside for Martin. Dominic Johnson, shooter's a guy I know you like with him and Orlando Salinas. Quick twitch athletes that can really swing it too.
Yeah, that new stadium, I'm not sure how the ball is going to fly there, but it's going to be tough to contain these two because they don't get cheated at the plate. Dom Johnson can really run. I love the way the ball jumps off the bat. It's loud every time he swings it. Salinas the same way. Big swings from the left side. He can hit it a long way. Both are going to have a lot of eyes on them for the draft. We'll see where they get selected in June. But even further down, Marcus Brown was a later commit to the Okies there at Oklahoma State. But he can really swing it. Blue collar kid. I think he shifts to third base, maybe a corner outfield guy. Good player. MJ Rodriguez, who was part of Team Select at the Future Games, so I'm a little bit biased towards him, but it's huge power. And I think his upside on campus over time, it's a threat to go deep every time he swings the bat. Love the way he swings it.
Yeah, certainly. You also got Jacob Mizorowski, who's from Missouri. It's a long frame. He's raw on the mound. I've seen it in the low 90s, but it would then kind of fall off after the first inning. Heard he's starting to hold that velo a little bit more into the deeper innings now. I've seen an above-average slider out of him with late three-quarter tilt. So he's a guy that's got a ton of upside. They're probably feeling pretty good about getting him on campus, and he could certainly blow up.
And keep an eye on the sleeper of this class, John Bay. I think he's really going to hit there in the Big 12. So John Bay, a good one to know.
There you go. So, but speaking of usual suspects and tons of talent, we got the Longhorns of Texas with 9 guys in the top 500. Lots of draft risk here. You've got the number 7 high school prospect in Jared Kelly, who is running his fastball into the high 90s this summer, spotting it up at 2. Slider's kind of a developing pitch for him, but he's shown feel for a changeup. It's a big, durable frame. This guy could be a first rounder. Texas unlikely to get him. I think for me, for this class, the linchpin is Tanner Witt. He's a two-way guy, shortstop / right-hander. It's big right-handed power. It's going to come down to the pro side. You know, do they think he's a pitcher, and does he think he's a position player? That comes up in the negotiations. It's like, hey, if you want me to pitch, I'd rather go to college. So we'll see what his thought process is throughout the spring. I love the upside on the mound. I can't, obviously ignore the right-handed power, but his ability on the mound with the athleticism, the spin rate, the ability to spin a breaking ball, the feel for a changeup, I think he could be a star as a pitcher.
Yeah, no shortage of velocity in this class, and also a lot of two-way athletes. I'm with you. I think Witt's going to be important to get on campus. Jared Jones, a recent later commit to the University of Texas, another two-way guy, runs up in the upper 90s. It's electric out of the hand. He's going to have a lot of eyes on him in Southern California, which will really affect the UT class. So we'll see what happens there. Carson Tucker, another guy, Arizona shortstop. He's got a pro profile right now. Just those actions, everything's very smooth up the middle, and he swings the bat well. It's going to be tough to get him on campus, too.
Yeah, it really is. Tucker, athletic, up the middle guy, like you said, lots of pro looks for him. Jared Jones, being a 5'11 righty, we'll see how the scouts handle that this spring, but getting those guys would be big. Travis Steele, that gives you a fifth guy in the top 100. Sits in the low 90s. I've seen him touch 95, 96. It's a 55 to 60 changeup for me. He flashes a sharp slider. He could make a jump in the spring. So that's 5 guys right there that you're going to sweat out in the draft. But I do like the depth that Texas has. Even if you lose, a majority of those 5 guys or half of them, whatever, you still got Petey Halpin, a left-handed hitter out of California, can really swing it. Aaron Nixon, shortstop from McAllen. I like Reed Taylor. Pitches in the high 90s, durable frame. I've seen an average breaking ball out of him. Saw him throw a no-hitter at the NPI. So you're looking at some depth here for Texas as well.
You know what? Aaron Nixon I really like in this class because he's got two-way potential. He's the type of kid that every coach wants in their program. Tough from down in McAllen, Texas, down there south on the border. He's the guy for me that you really want to get on campus because you can build around a guy like that who's going to bring it to the ballpark every day.
No doubt about it. So moving on now to TCU. We've got 12 guys in the top 500. You talk about having a lot of talent, a lot of depth. Their top guy is Cam Brown, right-hander. I'm a huge Cam Brown fan. When I saw him at the PDP over the summer, and then he flashed it a little bit at the area code games, it is 90 to 94 and A+ slider. Durable frame. I love his chances to be a starter at the next level. He's a guy that TCU probably is going to throw their hands up and say, sorry guys, we ain't getting him.
Yeah, he's probably the guy that you and I talked about most this summer because the stuff kept climbing and pitching at Flower Mound. He's throwing in some big games. I actually got to watch a lot of the Flower Mound Marcus series, which has a lot of energy at it. So I can't wait for those this year. But yeah. Carter Baumler out of Iowa, two-way potential because he's such a great athlete, about 6'6" runner. But on the mound, it's going to be tough for scouts to ignore him. It's a low 90s fastball, effortless, some feel for spin, a big breaking ball. But I think his best is very much ahead of him. Low mileage on the arm. He's got a lot to like, and I think a lot of scouts like what he's bringing to the table. And another guy I love in this class, the top 100, Elijah Nunez, Rhodey. Yeah. Really run. He's going to set the table at the top of the order, but we'll also see him at the Super 60, so there's a chance that he gets taken pretty early in the draft as well.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Nunez as well as Baumler. Like you said, that feel for spin. But Braxton Pearson is another right-hander from Georgetown, Texas. Throws strikes, spins a tight slider, so he's an arm to keep an eye on. Coming into the spring. And then out of Lake Travis, Storm Hierholzer, shooter. I mean, he's a guy that we've seen a lot of.
Yeah, and I'm sure the TCU staff is hoping he doesn't make that jump until he gets on campus because I easily could see him in the upper 90s soon with the sharp sliders. Got to reel it in a little bit. There's been some times where he'll lose the strike zone a little bit, but when it's on, it's electric and almost unhittable. So I'm sure a lot of scouts have seen him in the past because Brett Beatty was getting a lot of looks last year at Lake Travis. But we'll see how he does this year. They also went to Southern California. Devin Ornelas, shortstop, second baseman. You know he's going to play the right way coming out of that Notre Dame program. G. Allen out of Arkansas. I like the upside of Allen. He's another Super 60 guy we'll see soon, but athletic frame and can really swing it.
Yeah, he certainly can. It's maybe some incentive for some of these pitchers to show up on campus. They're going to have one of the best defensive guys, best receivers behind the plate if they get there in Raphael Peltier out of Canada.
Went out of the country all the way to Quebec. But he can really receive, catch, and throw. He looks like a guy that I would love to throw to because he'd be stealing strikes for me.
There you go. So looking at now at the Red Raiders of Texas Tech, we've got 8 guys in the top 500, top one being right-hander Levi Wells. It's a high-spin curveball, flashes sharpness with depth. No reason to think that he's not going to be pitching in the low 90s down the road. I've seen him bump that in the past. So that's a big arm that the Red Raiders could get. And then Chase Hampton, another right-hander, sits 92, 93, also flashes a hard breaking ball. So, lots of pitching depth in this one, because then you even look at Marco Raya
from
United South High School, way down in Laredo, Texas. I mean, it is way down there. He's a competitor on the mound, athletic tempo, really quick arm. It's a put-away slider. He's not going to turn 18 until August, so definitely some upside there.
Yeah, he pitches mean, but one of the position guys that I love is Drew Woodcocks. He's from Lamar in Houston, 6'6" runner. He's twitchy all over. Defensively, he's going to stick at shortstop. Love the way he's balanced and the setup at the plate, gap-to-gap approach. You can see him at the top of the order for the Red Raiders, but they continue to bring in guys who maybe there's a little bit of outlier in it. They go down to Laredo. They're all over the state. They get all over the country to bring in some really good players.
Yeah, they certainly do. You also got Brennan Gurton from Oklahoma, who's got a strong frame and a quick arm, low 90s fastball. And then Gerard Watts Brown from California. This guy has a ton of upside and could make a huge jump, whether it's this spring or on campus at Texas Tech. But projectable frame, downward breaking ball with 12-6 shape, future average or better pitch, and then he could find the low 90s at some point as well. So good-looking class for Texas Tech. But to wrap things up here for the Big 12, we got West Virginia, who's got 4 guys in the top 500. Tyler Chadwick checks in at number 74 of the high school class. He's from Wisconsin. It's a projectable frame, really easy delivery, and that ball comes out hot. It sits in the low 90s. He throws a slider, good athlete. So nice-looking arm. The Mountaineers kind of hope to get to campus. Being from Wisconsin with that weather, might be a good shot at getting him.
Yeah, and they've done a good job getting those big physical types. Alec Manoa, obviously, huge guy who can really run the fastball up there. Chadwick's the same way. Not quite as polished just yet, which could help him get to campus. But shoot, he's going to throw real hard, and I love the projection on it. McGuire Holbrook for this class, who's an early commitment to them from down in Florida. A lot of high talent guys in Florida that get a lot of hype and kind of get the attention. I think Holbrook has been a steady builder in the Florida class as anybody. Huge fan of his. Love the way he swings the bat. Confident kid who's going to fit right into the middle of that order at some point for the Mountaineers. Big fan of his. Braden Barry, an outfielder from Kentucky. We watched him for about a week and a half, a couple summers ago. He must have gotten 20, 25 hits. Twitchy, not the biggest kid yet. He's going to fill out on campus, but he can really run, plays hard all the time, short to the ball jumps off the bat. Richard Benitez, a shortstop from down in Florida. Twitchy at the plate. He's really going to hit in the Big 12. I'm a big fan of his. The best is ahead of them. Steve Saban's doing a great job. West Virginia going all over the country to get players. So good class here for the Mountains, but they really got to get Tyler Chadwick to campus.
Yeah, that'd be nice for the Mountaineers. So there you have it. Look at the Big 12 and their recruiting classes for 2020. Be sure to stay tuned to PrepBaseballReport.com and Twitter, as we will also have a podcast coming out tomorrow, and then we will move on to our final installment of the recruiting class looks with the Power Major shooter with a Coffee and Curveballs episode as well as a podcast. So be on the lookout for that. But as always, for Shooter Hunt, I'm Nathan Rohde. This was Coffee and Curveballs, and until next time, we'll see you guys at the ballpark.